A San Diego couple who barely knew life without each other.
It's like an epic love story.
Their children share how COVID-19 became the unwanted ending to their lifelong commitment.
Plus, the news service site in the North County that hospital officials are calling a triple threat against the virus.
Struck blind and surrendered to a shelter, a dog who captured the world's heart is settling into his new home. Showing what it means to be positively San Diego, his new family gives an update on his new life and how you can follow along as well.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
Nearly 1 year into the pandemic, COVID-19 has touched almost everyone in some way, mentally, financially, emotionally. The virus has claimed the lives of more than 2,800 San Diegans.
And these are just a few of the faces. Tonight, Irina Nakano shares another family story after losing both parents on the same day.
Their love story is something you'd only see in the movies.
He saw my mom in homeroom in 7th grade. And he said from the moment he saw her, he knew he was going to marry her.
5 years later, they did. Blanca and Juan Rodriguez eloped, had 4 kids, and soon many grandchildren. The happily retired couple led a beautiful life in South San Diego until mid-January, when suddenly everyone in the family got COVID. A surprise considering the family says they took extra precautions to stay safe.
We quarantined. We haven't gone out. We didn't go out. We didn't even go to stores. We would order food delivery.
Just as the kids were recovering, Juan and Blanca's symptoms took a turn for the worse. On February 1st, they were both rushed to 2 different hospitals. They could only talk to them via Zoom.
We were like, Mom's going to be okay. We need to worry about Dad.
Juan's condition continued to worsen. Last Sunday, the family was told to say their goodbyes.
My mom was on the Zoom call, and my mom told my dad that she was happy that she was able to share her life with my dad, and that she thanked him for being the love of her life.
Just 3 hours after that Zoom call, Blanca too stopped responding to medication. Her daughters say it's as if she knew her soulmate was leaving soon. Blanca Rodriguez took her last breath on February 8th at 12:30 a.m. 3 hours later, in a hospital across town,
he couldn't live without her, so he just let go.
Juan and Blanca Rodriguez, inseparable in life and in death.
It's like an epic love story, that they went together the same day. They were the best parents, the best.
Irina Nakano, ABC 10 News.
One of the many love stories lost to this pandemic. The family has an account set up for funeral expenses. If you would like to contribute, we do have a link on our website at 10news.com. The county announced today that 32 more people have died from COVID. As we said, more than 2,800 San Diegans have now lost their lives to the virus. The county reported 789 new cases of the virus today as well. Our total is now just over 248,000. Those numbers have helped push our 14-day rolling average below 7%. That is less than half of what it was just a month ago.
It's a first of its kind COVID-19 service site in San Diego County and possibly the nation. Palomar Health and the county are running the operation at the site of the old Palomar Hospital. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco shows us why hospital officials are calling it a triple threat against the virus.
Heartbreaking images of critically ill patients hooked up to ventilators have dominated headlines since the pandemic began. For some COVID-19 patients, early treatment with antibodies can keep them out of the hospital. In San Diego County, that treatment just got easier to get. Dr. Sandeep Soni is the medical director of infectious diseases at Palomar Health.
And that was our biggest hurdle. And now that we have a dedicated space that can infuse up to 50 people a day.
That dedicated space is an infusion suite in what used to be Palomar Medical Center.
You don't want to tie up an emergency room for something where it's not really an emergency, and trying to get a positive COVID patient who's still infectious into other parts of your hospital as an outpatient is not easy to do.
High-risk or older patients who are within 10 days of their first COVID symptoms and have a doctor's referral can come here for monoclonal antibodies.
Especially if they're overweight and diabetic and they end up with severe disease.
Dr. Soni explains how the treatment stops that progression.
Basically using blood from a previous patient from a while ago and looking at what they have inside of them and trying to create in the lab a protein, an antibody that will protect against that, against coronavirus.
The antibody therapy is just one service offered at the site of the old hospital. 3 floors of the parking garage are now open and ready to provide COVID-19 testing and, depending on supply, up to 2,000 vaccines a day. In Escondido, Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
It's the first drive-up vaccination site in the North County. Appointments for vaccines and tests must be made on the Palomar Health website.
Local law enforcement officers will not be moving up on the list of those who get vaccinated next. County leaders voted against a motion that would make police officers and sheriff's deputies eligible for the vaccine right away. Supervisor Joel Anderson put that motion forward, claiming that law enforcement officers are routinely responding to emergency situations where individuals often require medical attention and CPR. But several other groups in San Diego have also been lobbying for vaccine priority, including airport workers, grocery store employees, and of course, teachers. And we know there are a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. Our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. Just send us an email to tips@10news.com.
A Navy sailor was shot and killed in his front yard in Chula Vista on Saturday. Chula Vista police say paramedics tried to save 36-year-old Navy Chief Ramon Joseph, but they couldn't. Officers say there were reports of a suspicious vehicle and shots fired before he was killed. The Navy says he was from Louisiana and was stationed on the USS Stetham. Anyone with information about Joseph's death is asked to call Chula Vista Police. And tonight at 7 o'clock, you will hear the touching tribute written by one of Joseph's fellow sailors.
The historic second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump is now underway. House impeachment managers presented a video which they say shows how Trump incited the deadly riot at the Capitol. Trump's defense team is arguing that his speech is protected by the First Amendment. Today, the Senate voted to proceed with the trial, declaring constitutional. 6 Republicans voted with Democrats on the resolution. One of them, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, explained his vote.
If I'm an impartial juror and I'm trying to make a decision based upon the facts as presented on this issue, then the House managers did a much better job.
Opening arguments are expected to start tomorrow, and we will have continued live coverage of the impeachment trial on our streaming apps. You can watch by downloading our free 10 News app on your phone or your streaming device.
Governor Gavin Newsom has a major ally now in the recall effort against him. The White House announced today President Joe Biden, quote, clearly opposes any effort to recall Newsom. Well, the group behind the recall effort says it's collected more than 1.3 million signatures. They need to submit 2 million signatures by March 17th in order to force a recall election. And whether there's a recall election or not, Republican John Cox is again pursuing the governor's mansion. The San Diego businessman officially kicked off his campaign in Fresno this week, and he took aim at GOP rival and former San Diego mayor Kevin Faulconer, calling him a political twin of Newsom. Faulconer entered the race last week. Governor Newsom defeated Cox in the 2018 gubernatorial race by nearly 3 million votes.
The San Diego County Republican Party has endorsed Marco Contreras for the vacant 79th Assembly District seat. Of course, Shirley Weber vacated that seat last month when she became California's Secretary of State. Her daughter and La Mesa City Council Vice Mayor Akilah Weber hopes to succeed her mother in representing that district. Contreras owns Rancho Customs Brokers, which provides compliance and consulting services to U.S. Customs. He is the first Republican to enter the race. The special election is scheduled for June 8th.
The county officially declared a public health crisis in the Tijuana River Valley today. Our partners at KPBS report it's a new tactic that the county is trying to address the continual cross-border sewage problem. Clean water groups say the declaration opens the door to spend state and federal money in the region to do something about the sewage and trash.
I think our request is to go a step further and immediately start a cleanup effort in the Tijuana River Valley. And our concern is based on the fact that there is a public campground that's going to be opening this year in the area, and it's not clean. So that is why we're asking the county to go a step further.
The sewage flows lead to dozens of beach water closures in the South Bay every year, especially during rain. Federal officials have $300 million set aside to build sewage treatment facilities or other projects in the region, but it's not clear when those will begin.
A La Mesa business owner who got into a violent confrontation with the media 1 year ago has pleaded guilty to felony vandalism. Peter Karzis was caught on camera going after news crews who were outside his La Mesa shop to ask about a separate accusation that he faced. The confrontation saw him charged with battery and vandalism, but the battery charge was just dropped as part of his plea deal. He is scheduled to be sentenced March 10th.